Welcome back to UCL Review, where we round up the latest Champions League action. As you can see, Doogie Crichton is not here tonight, so it's two very disappointed Man United fans, none more so than Joe Thomlinson right here. How are you feeling, mate?
Oh, I'm just feeling devastated. I'm not going to lie, I'm absolutely gutted because, of course, Manchester United have just crashed out of the Champions League, losing 3-2 against RB Leipzig in a game where we only had to draw. We didn't even have to win the match. A draw would have been enough to send us through to the last 16, but we couldn't do it. Coming into the game, of course, all of the chat has been around Paul Pogba. His agent, Mino Raiola, yesterday chose the eve of the game to reveal that Paul Pogba no longer wanted to play for the club and wanted to leave in January. Just superb timing from an agent of his calibre and a player of Paul's stature to put out a statement like that. And the timing really put quite a lot of pressure on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because there was a lot of question marks. Is he going to start Paul? Is he not going to start Paul? Was he planning to start Paul Pogba? Or has he pulled him out at the last minute? Well, we're not too sure whether he pulled him out at the last minute or whether he planned without him. But whatever happened, Paul Pogba didn't start this game. He was dropped from the first 11 despite starting against West Ham and scoring in that one. I think it was probably a bit of a statement by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a statement that he had to kind of fall back on at about 60 minutes when we needed goals and had to throw him onto the pitch. But yeah, just a terrible build-up for Manchester United to this game and a terrible night, to be totally honest with you, because we were also missing Anthony Martial, missing Edinson Cavani, missing Fred, who was booked, who was red carded, I should say, against PSG. But it wasn't just us that had injuries. You know, Leipzig had injury issues. They also had Deo Upamecano suspended. So there's not really an excuse for Manchester United because we started so badly, and I thought we were the second best team pretty much throughout the whole game, Mikey.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I do think the Pogba omission, I do kind of believe Solskjaer that it was tactical, just because I feel like if it wasn't, then I feel like Van der Beek would have been starting that game, and he obviously had to be rolled out at half-time as well. I feel like United was set up far too conservatively to begin with, weren't they? With McTominay and Matic as the only two central midfielders. And yeah, in that first 20 minutes, Leipzig just ran riot. And yeah, despite being without Upamecano, it didn't really affect them for much of the game. It was really a game that was defined by them having the superior defence, wasn't it? Yeah. And yeah, United caught out straight away. Man City loanee Angelino firing in after just 2 minutes. AWB, Wan-Bissaka failing to pick up that Sabitzer early cross, which was a great cross to be fair, but yeah, that United defence just not ready for it. That was the Spanish wing-back's third goal in this season's group stage. Takes his tally to 7 in all competitions, adding 5 assists, including the one he got for Haidara just 10 minutes later, and he's contributing to a goal every 119 minutes this term in all competitions. Man City fans can't quite believe why he's not still at the Etihad right now. But yeah, like I said, United caught out again 10 minutes later with that ball into the box from Angelino. Amadou Haidara not picked up by Luke Shaw or Alex Telles, who had a horror first half. 22-year-old volleying home for his first UCL goal. But yeah, like you said, Thomlinson, Leipzig just totally dominant for that first 20 minutes, weren't they? 61% possession. They had 4 shots to United's 1. Pressing so high and just playing through that United midfield with ease, just totally outnumbered in the middle of the park, weren't they? And yeah, that period ultimately won them the game. I thought Sabitzer was particularly excellent during that period, completely ran the show, ended the game with 2 shots, 2 key passes, completed more passes than anyone bar Harry Maguire with 42, so really ran the show in the centre of the park. But yeah, Solskjaer's side were much better after the 20-minute mark, I thought. They ended the half with 6 shots to Leipzig's 6. Greenwood fired off 3 of those. He was really the main threat in that first 45. But just frustrating the final third in general, though. Still, the final ball was lacking. 4 shots were blocked. A couple of poor decisions from Marcus Rashford as well. So yeah, Joe, by half-time, it was clear that Solskjaer really needs to switch things up.
Oh yeah, by half-time, the game was gone, really. It's all well and good giving mid-table, mediocre Premier League sides the chance to take the lead. You know, you can afford to potentially give a Southampton 1 goal or a West Ham 1 goal. You cannot afford to do it in the Champions League against a side of RB Leipzig's quality, and they absolutely punished us for some horrendous defending, like you mentioned there, Mikey. We were an absolute embarrassment at the back. 5 defenders, and they still didn't know what they were doing. The tactical organisation of that backline is nothing short of non-league level. It was horrendous tonight from start to finish in terms of all of the defenders on the pitch. I do agree with you. Half-time, I thought Van der Beek's introduction, moving to the 4, definitely improved us. I thought Paul Pogba's introduction improved us even further. I actually thought he had a really, really positive impact on the team as soon as he came onto the field. Some really nice passes. Immediately instrumental in a couple of attacks. But the game was gone by that stage. The third goal I want to talk about in particular, because it's an absolute fiasco. I'm raging here about the third goal. I don't know whether you can tell at home, but I am spitting. I'm holding back anger, to be quite honest with you, because it's just a tale of this backline. Consistent, sloppy, individual errors amongst a team that is totally disorganised going backwards. Harry Maguire letting the ball go across him. How he doesn't put out for a corner is criminal. De Gea bottling the challenge. Stick your head in there. He's got to throw everything at that ball. I do not believe that Dean Henderson doesn't chuck face at that ball, because he almost turns his back. He makes himself smaller. It's a shambles from De Gea. It's a shambles from Maguire. A shambles from the entire back line. By that stage, 3-0 down, the game is done and dusted. Yes, United come back in classic Manchester United fashion. They get the penalty. I think it's a little bit soft. You can probably see why it's given. Bruno hits the bar. Greenwood, who I thought was probably Man United's best player on the night, to be honest with you. Some really nice, like, dancing footwork. Produced some really solid saves out of the goalkeeper as well. And then we get the second goal. And you think 10 minutes to go. Man United, this could be a classic here. Nearly scrape the equaliser thanks to an own goal from Konate. But it wasn't to be. And rightly so, Leipzig won that game. Solskjaer got it wrong on the night. Nagelsmann got it right. Tactically dealt and embarrassed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in that first 30 minutes. I just get so frustrated with this team because there are glimpses of brilliance. There's Bruno, there's Greenwood, there's Rashford. And then there's also totally embarrassing fiascos. And I'm sorry, I think this one has to lay at the door of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I thought he got it tactically wrong on the night. I don't often blame Ole, but for me, it was all over the place. It's a fiasco. David Moyes is the best Champions League record of any Manchester United manager in the post-Ferguson era. Not good enough. I'm losing my head here, Mikey, so please take over with your thoughts.
I mean, to be fair to Solskjaer, I think he came in as manager when we had that PSG last 16 tie, and then played a pretty strong Barcelona side in the quarterfinals. So it's hard to judge him considering that. But yeah, I think that Istanbul Başakşehir game was just so woeful, wasn't it? That would have been 3 wins out of 3 if the result had gone the way that it should have in terms of what was expected before that match. And yeah, 1 point needed from the final 2 games as well. And the PSG game, United just weren't really good enough, were they? Especially in the final 30 minutes. And in this game, killed off in the first 20 minutes. I feel like Nagelsmann probably learnt from his mistakes from the Old Trafford game. United also didn't look brilliant for the first 20, 30 minutes there. But Leipzig just didn't really take advantage, didn't really take the game by the scruff of the neck, and they just did so here. And I think it really was a game that showed the class between those two managers. I think we generally have backed Solskjaer so far, and I think Solskjaer has done a relatively good job at United. But he's not in that elite level of manager, is he? Ultimately, which is the sad thing for United fans. Joe, have you got anything more to say on the matter, or shall we move on?
I mean, it is now a massive game against Manchester City this Saturday in the derby. A huge affair that United cannot afford to get spanked in. If United lose badly there, I just feel the whole sort of motivation around the club will just start to disintegrate. And it feels like we're constantly on a high, then constantly on a low. Do you know what I mean? And that just can't continue. Man United fans, I want to hear from you in the comments below. What did you make of that game? Where did it all go wrong? Does the blame solely with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or does it also lie with those players? Let us know in the comments below.
The second and final game we're looking at tonight didn't have as much riding on it. Two teams who are already through to the last 16, but we couldn't look past it. Barca Juve, Leo versus Cristiano, Joe. Yeah, what happened there?
Well, I'm just trying to breathe out my anger at this Manchester United game, and we'll move on to this Barcelona-Juve game. Hopefully, it just calms me down a little bit, because like you said, it was Lionel Messi versus Cristiano, of course, meeting for the first time since he left Real Madrid back in 2018. Ronaldo, of course, was out with the first leg with COVID, so that's the reason he didn't play against Messi earlier. And the narrative coming into this game was all about the pairs clash. They faced each other 35 times. Messi's won 16, Ronaldo had previously won 10, and there were 9 draws. Well, Ronaldo has now won 11 because Juventus absolutely banged Barcelona, who were yet again absolutely stinking. Ronald Koeman's men just needed to avoid defeat by 2 goals to top Group G. Of course, they couldn't do it, and I'm not surprised in the slightest. They've been in stinking form all season. Of course, losing to Cadiz most recently at the weekend. They sit 9th in the table. And despite all of that sort of negativity, terrible form, Messi hating the club, they have still won, or had, coming into this game, had still won all 5 of their opening group stage matches this season. So they were in a really strong position. 15 points from a possible 15, looking like they were nailed on to top the group as long as they didn't lose 3-0. And what happened? They lost 3-0, Mikey.
Yeah, pretty shambolic, wasn't it, from Barca? Obviously, this result piles pressure on Ronald Koeman once again. 2 losses in a row after what seemed like a little bit of a revival in November. Barca had, I think, stringing together a few better results. Players like Antoine Griezmann were coming into a little bit of form. But once again, yeah, this Barca team just disappoints, don't they? They had more shots on target, more possession. But they were so wasteful, mainly shooting from range. You know, Juve ended up having a 2.4 XG in their favour to Barca's 0.9. Obviously, that's thanks to 2 penalties from Ronaldo. Struck that first one from the spot after being brought down by Ronald Araujo after 12 minutes. Questions as to whether it was a bit soft. I thought it was a penalty, but I think similarly to that one in the United game, I think it could go either way. Weston McKennie then volleyed home 8 minutes later, and like against Cadiz, Barca's centre-backs were just nowhere to be seen. Such poor defending. Obviously they're going through a bit of a crisis in the back line at the moment, but still no excuse really. Shouldn't be getting that much space, 6 yards from goal. Then Ronaldo obviously adds that second penalty early in the second half, making Juve the first Italian team to score 3 goals away at Barca in UEFA competition. So I think that means, in European Cup history, in Europa, UEFA Cup history, Cup Winners' Cup history, yeah, so that's pretty damning, if not maybe like just a little bit of a coincidence, I don't know. But this means that Juve topped the group, Barca slipped to second despite taking 15 points from the group, won those first 5 games. And yeah, so I mean, in some ways, Barca may be a bit unfortunate considering they've been so good up until now in the groups. But nevertheless, didn't have much of a job to do on the night. The Camp Nou, usually an absolute fortress in Europe, isn't it? And yeah, succumbed to that defeat, and no one will be feeling that more than Leo Messi, who, yeah, I guess was shown up on the night, despite probably being Barca's best player once again. But Barca fans, what did you make of that performance, and what do you make of Ronald Koeman? I feel like the pressure's really mounting on him now. Obviously, those presidential elections are coming up in January. Feel like his time is currently running out. Really needs a good string of results, and for Barca to get back in that top 4 in La Liga, for him to keep his job, if I'm honest. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. That's all we have time for on UCL Review. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to EuroFootball Daily if you want more of this. I believe it's Doogie and Hamill on tomorrow morning covering Wednesday night's games. So yeah, all the UCL content coming at you from EFD. Joe, where should they go next?
Yeah, why not go and check out Monday's winners and losers? It was me, Chris and Will Brazer. We sat down to chat about Arsenal and Tottenham, why Frank Lampard can win the Premier League, and Bruno Fernandes, trying to save us tonight, managed to save us against West Ham. So, better times. Throwback to better times, Mikey.
Indeed, indeed. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you later. Bye.